Seasons are a lot. So for those of you who don't know, well, I did grow up on Guam until I was about 10. Around that age, I moved to the States, specifically Washington. One of the things I was most excited for when moving to Washington were seasons. On television, seasons look like all kinds of fun, especially when the only season you have all year round are really, really hot and typhoon season. On television, kids are always having so much fun when the weather changes. They're doing things like jumping in piles of leaves and having great snowball fights and building igloos. So when I moved to Washington, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great! I'm gonna build all the snowmen, I'm gonna have snowball fights, I'm gonna jump in leaves, I'm gonna swim in the giant pile of leaves. Yet the first thing I realized when I moved to Washington, and it was the summer, was that it's really, really cold. On Guam, it's like 90 degrees every day, all the time, with super humidity, so it is always really, really hot. In Washington, it was like 70 degrees when I moved here. It was freezing. I would go outside and I'd be playing with the neighborhood kids, and while everyone's running around in shorts and a t-shirt like, Trainer Joey from Pokemon, I'm sitting there in like a big puffy jacket and snow boots and mittens. That is how cold it felt. Eventually I got used to it and I was able to start wearing like normal clothes like everyone else, but it took a little while. I won't forget my first fall and my first winter. In the fall, the thing I was looking forward to most was jumping in a pile of leaves. So my dad gets me to go outside, rig a big pile of leaves, and I'm just going up there and I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna be great, I'm gonna jump into it, it's gonna be like jumping in a pile of feathers. So I stand back by the tree, I take a running jump, I fly, arms out like Superman, and I plop. And what I learned when I plopped was that leaves are not feathers. They are not soft, they are wet, they barely cushion the ground at all. I just knocked the wind out of myself, and then I had a bunch of leaves I had to clean up again. So I was disappointed by my first leaf experiment. So 10-year-old me was then really, really excited for snow. The first time we saw snow, my family and I were in church. I tell my mom that it's snowing outside as we walk because I noticed it. And she stands up and screams, "It's snowing!" The entire church just stares at her like she's some kind of crazy lady. Anyway, we get really excited, we drive home, I get all my snow clothes back out, and I go outside with all the neighborhood kids to have a snowball fight. Now keep in mind, on TV, when you play in the snow, nobody seems to get wet, especially in cartoons. And everyone's just having a blast. When you get hit by a snowball, it just kind of plops on your face. What I didn't realize was that getting hit by a snowball was like getting hit by a block of ice. It was cold and it was wet, and 10-year-old me did not like this unexpected feeling. So my first experience with the snowball fight was that it's cold, wet, and it hurts to get hit in the head. So the next thing I do is I try to build a snowman, and I find out, holy crap, big balls of ice are really, really heavy. I could not make a giant snowman because I could not lift a second less giant ball of ice on top of my first big ball of ice. So my snowman didn't work out. I tried to make an igloo. I have no idea how to build an igloo. Building a square out of powdery ice is really, really hard. So I go inside and I find out I am soaking wet. Nobody is soaking wet on television. It took me a little while to start actually enjoying seasons and the things that they do bring that are really positive. Like, it's really pretty during the fall when all the leaves are changing color. Snow days were the best. Not going to school because it just happens to be a little bit icy outside. In Washington, we close schools when there's like even the threat of snow. So while there were a lot of things that I eventually learned to enjoy about seasons, my first impression was different than expected, and my brain didn't like that it was different than I expected. There were a lot of other weird experiences I had moving to the States from a tiny island, but I'll share those with you guys another time. Any of you guys have any unexpected experiences with differences between what the media tells you it's going to be like and what it is actually like? If you do, leave a comment below. If you like this video, hit subscribe for more weekly videos, and I'll see you guys next time.